Hello, everyone, and welcome to Jennifer Hart Connected. I am Jennifer Hart, in case you did not gather that. If we are new friends, hello and welcome. Introduce yourself in the chat. I always love to meet new people. Sometimes the universe sends people on this crazy path and they're able to find me. Sometimes they don't even know how they got here, but if you're here, I guarantee you're in the right place. There's a message for you. There's someone you need to meet. I don't know, whatever it is, but just trust. And thanks for joining us. And if you're returning, thank you, thank you, thank you. So happy to have you here again. Say hello. Let me know how you're doing. I do like to tell people this is previously recorded. So if I don't answer you in real time, that is why, but I'm always checking the chats and the comments. If you have questions, please drop them in the chat and we will get them answered for you. So if you don't know me, I am a connector and a soul guide. I have created a network called the Connected Soul Network. It's made up of explorers, which is who I was when I first started out on my spiritual journey. I didn't even know at that time I was on a spiritual awakening. I just started out with a bucket list. I was having a lot of fun going out of my comfort zone, connecting people to do these fun bucket list items with me. And next thing I know, my life is just changing. I move and I end up selling all my stuff and traveling. And then now here I am on the road of personal development and growth and helping others to do the same. And in the network, we also have Who I Am Now, which is a guide. And guides are people that are coaches, practitioners, healers, anybody that's helping to guide people on a path of their best and highest self, the most potential they can have, peace, love, whatever it is that you're seeking in your life. And we come together through these interviews, through events, through our Facebook group. And I would love to invite you to join us and check it out and see if you might be a good fit to be a member. It includes admission to all of our amazing events, and you also get replay access as well, and lots of other things too. We have our first upcoming in-person event. Super excited for this. So I just laugh. I'm like, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? Like, first in-person event, let's just go big or go home. First of all, how could we say no to the magical Mount Shasta in California, the root chakra of the world that just alone in its own energy is so magical, is so healing, is so empowering, is so connected to source, higher power, whatever it is that you call it. And we have decided to go with a 3.5-day event that we will be guiding and leading for people. We're calling it a journey because you're going to be going on your own personal journey. And if you're someone that's looking to get reconnected to nature, to yourself, to source, and to others that are on the same path, you're looking for that community, maybe you need a vacation or a break or a spiritual bath is what came to mind, then I would love to invite you to join us. I have the links for the membership as well as the Shasta trip in the caption. I always get messed up on what I should call it. And with that, we have a special going on until July 7th where you can actually buy the purchase of the trip and also a 1-year Explorer membership so that you can join us in the Connected Soul Network for all of the amazing events, all of the awesome connections that we have going on and the community. I would love for you to check it out. And if you have any questions, let me know. And today we are going to be talking about, I'm super excited for our guest. She's my personal soul boo. She's like one of my big sisters, BFFs. I talk to her seriously every day, multiple times a day. And we're going to be talking about sales in business. So if you have a business, whatever kind of business you have, she is amazing at sales. And we are going to talk about how you can create more sales with doing less. And I'm super excited because I can use this always in my own business. Let me tell you a little bit about her before I bring her on. Her name is Celia Faye Meisel, and she is a sales growth consultant. She's a career entrepreneur with over 20 years experience as a trainer, a mentor, and a coach. Her 5-step MORE method helps her clients to have more money, more sales with ease, more simplicity, more sales freedom, and more growth in their businesses. The sales initiatives that Celia has consulted on, trained sales teams for, and sold for have generated over $12 million in high-ticket program sales. and I've seen this firsthand. She is phenomenal. Hey, Soul Boo.
Hey.
That's how we always say hi to each other. So it's like one of those soul connections when you just meet somebody and it's like instantly just feels so at home and so warm. That's how I always describe it. Like I feel at home, it's easy, and it's just, yeah, warm and fuzzy. So thank you for coming. I'm so excited. We've been talking about this interview for a long time. Yay.
Yes, thanks for having me.
I love it. So I always like to talk about how I met people, because I always like to see how people came here that I don't know, and how the universe is always guiding us with these breadcrumbs and these experiences and events that happen in our life. And so I always share, like, how did I get connected to the guest? And so for you and I, we were working together on some virtual events, and we crossed paths, and we didn't work together at first, but I saw you, and then we worked on an event together, and then we connected afterwards and just started having connection calls, and now we've been connected ever since. And that's been a couple of years ago. So
yeah, we pretty much had like an instant connection when we met. I remember we worked that event together, and I was like, oh my God, I love her. And we got on Voxer, and it was super fast. Yeah, we were super fast friends.
Yes. And you, I remember just being so magnetic when you were on and doing your role, and helping with the sales and inform people of the services that they had available. And I was just like, oh, she's good. Like, just so, it's like something I would want to call in more to my life. And just the way that you were so easy and flowy and like grounded. And I was like, oh, that's amazing. Like, and it just really caught my eye. And then, of course, we bonded over systems and processes. Like, yes. We love our systems and processes. So funny. I did not used to understand like how crucial and important those were in businesses until I ran my own business now. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like if you don't have systems and processes, whew, it's chaos. And, it takes time to build them and to document them. And so we definitely have that in common. And I love that about us. And so I can always geek out with you with that.
Absolutely. We're always optimizing and fixing things.
Yes, which goes perfect with what you're doing in your business.
Yes.
And with the MORE method. So tell us, I always like to let's get the backstory. I gave a little piece of mine. Mine's a bucket list. And I just started doing these things, and it eventually opened me up and brought me to the people, places, and things that gave me the spiritual experience and put me on the path of finding that actually personal growth and development is my passion. As I explored myself, like, what was it for you that brought you to where you are today?
Yeah. Well, I think that there were a couple things. I always had a natural ability to like relate to people and connect with people. In my younger years, it was kids. I was always really good with kids and like really seeing them and being present with them. And then as I moved into adulthood, it was sort of the same thing. Like I could just really like get people and see them and connect with them. And that's just a natural gift of mine. And then I also had this like really deep desire to like live a life of like really great soul expression. At the beginning, I didn't know what that meant. I wouldn't have had those words, but I just always had this like depth inside of me that was calling out to be expressed. And so that journey actually started off in music, and I was a musician for the first part of my life, almost half my life, from a very young age, and pursued that. And then some life events happened in my early 30s that it was like a spiritual awakening kind of thing. Like I had a big health crisis, and it just really woke me up to all the ways that I was asleep in my life, and put me onto a spiritual journey to start healing my body, healing my mind. And through a series of events of just me really getting on that path and deciding like, I want to live, I want this depth inside of me to come out. And I feel like because of this crisis in my life and with my health, that pursuing music is no longer sustainable for me. So I'm ready to open up and find a new path. And that was like literally just what I said to myself. And then things started to unfold and people started to come into my life and opportunities. And one thing after another, I have a business coach, I have a new business, I have more coaches, and I got into the world of coaching. And I think like anybody who drinks the coaching Kool-Aid usually wants to get into it and wants to be a part of it because it's such an amazing world, whether you're a coach yourself or you're just like hanging out with people who are helping others and transforming lives and doing great things in the world, up to great things. So that's the synopsis of the story.
I love that. And so, I mean, what I know is that your business that you started with versus the business now has transpired greatly. So how did you get into the sales piece of everything?
Yeah. Well, it was really interesting because when I first got into it, I was doing spiritual healing work. I got certified as a sound healer, and because I wanted to use my music background, and I found that there were two camps of people that were coming to me. There were people with like relationship issues, like he cheated on me. She went back with her ex-boyfriend and she won't talk to me. I have drama with a coworker. I have drama with an expert. So I was getting a lot of relationship stuff, and then I was getting people that had businesses that like essential oils business that they wanted to take off, health coaching business they wanted to take off. And I was getting these two camps of people, and I was seeing the trend, and I was like, I am feeling more called to help people in the business domain. And I think at the time it was because I had a lot of like unresolved gunk in my relationship space around my family. I'm in a great marriage, but just like family wise and personal wise, I don't know, I just didn't feel an integrity to help people with relationships. And so I had been on the journey for a while and was kind of, getting clear and on what I wanted and who I was. And I remember it was the very end of 2015 going into 2016. And I was like, one night I just was like, okay, I'm going to just go and niche. I didn't even know what the word niche was, but I'm going to niche into business. And that's what I did. And so I continued the spiritual healing work alongside that. But I had years of being a business owner. I had already been running my own business for 7 years, so I was getting startups and newer people that just, they needed help and guidance. But I was also doing a lot of life purpose coaching as well. So I would get women that they just, they had good lives. Maybe they had a great business and they wanted to sell their business and they just needed coaching, or they were stuck. I had a woman who, she had, her husband had passed away unexpectedly in a fire. And so she had all this work to do with like settling his estate. And then she was working through that to then like start her next journey. So by the time we finished together, she had like enrolled in a speaker training and was like starting to get coached and like get her business going. So in the beginning, it was a lot of like me just like seeing who I was attracting in and like showing up in service to them. And as I went more, I would get that, I would connect in again with that depth inside of me of like, what is it that I'm really here to express? And so after a couple years of being full-time as a coach, because once I niched into the business and got really clear, the business coaching, personal development, what did I call it? Personal transformation coaching, life purpose. That's when things started to really take off for me. And I started to call in higher level clients. And so I was able to go full time in my coaching business within 6 months of finding that focus. And then I just continued to like see what was coming my way. And so I would say it was like the summer of 2017. It was revealed to me that I had a gift for sales, and I never really saw that. It's like our natural innate gifts, they're right here. It's like you look at your hand every day, but you don't really like recognize it. And so I saw that I had this gift for it. And so from that moment on, I started aligning myself with teachers and trainers and things that would come my way and learn, and, watching webinars and, doing different things and getting coaching. And so over time it evolved that within a year or so, I was starting to really like show up as a sales coach and, call myself a sales coach. And again, doing spiritual work alongside of that. And then I just continued to get the mastery over it over time, because I was on that path and I had that focus, and I was really following the energy that was coming my way, where I was being guided to pursue.
Okay. So I love that. And what stuck out to me right now with what you said was the spirituality and the sales. Can
Yeah.
you touch upon like how they kind of can go hand in hand? I believe they go hand in hand, I don't know what your
Yeah.
thought is on
Yeah.
that, but
It's evolved so much. I mean, from then to now. So at the beginning, my direction was like, let me help people like find who they are and their gifts and their soul gifts and their spiritual gifts, and really help them to express that inside of their businesses. And by doing that, they will earn more revenue, and they will have more and experience more. And over time, it got more sophisticated, to where I just kind of naturally attracted people that were spiritual. I wasn't like needing to do readings and healing and stuff. I reached a point in 2019 that it was like the very end of 2019 where it was a very clear, like, that part of my journey of doing more of the spiritual stuff is I'm done like needing to do that, because I had integrated so much. And so the spirituality in sales, I would say at this point, that it's like coming from the depth. I keep saying that word, the depth of your being, the depth of who you are and what you are expressing through your business, and that you like embody that, and you spend time with that, and you allow it to come through, and in doing that, you take risks, and you reach out to people, and you follow up, and you pursue things that you might not normally pursue, but because like there's this part of you that's like really guiding you along the way without your mind and your ego, it's very natural. So to me, like that's what the spiritual side of selling is now. It's like, it's just like who you are, it's what you do, it's how you express. But we have these like habits and patterns and conditioning that we've picked up in our lifetimes that get in the way. And so it's like just, I'm not even going to say clearing or anything like that, because I don't think that we have to do that, but it's just like, whoop, okay. And I'm just going to allow this power inside of me to express. That's where I am today. And I think that I'll clarify more as we have this conversation.
yes, I love that. Okay. So tell me then, what do you do in your business now?
Mm-hmm. With like for my own self, with clients, like
all the above.
Yeah. So I would say that with, okay. So my own business is still, it's the same thing. It's still like me trusting and staying on the path. I actually have in like giant words right here, trust, and just really staying on the path and trusting where I'm being guided and who I'm being guided to. And I want to say that I'm not saying that in a very like willy-nilly way. Like it's very strategic. Like I have a very high level coach that I work with who is amazing. And I'm very intentional with that work. And I don't spread myself thin with chasing courses and opt-ins and freebies. Like I committed to this coach. And so I think that the first point here is embodiment, is that I embody what it is that I'm doing. Now, here's a very important factor, and this is something that you and I have chatted about recently, Jen, is that my clients that I work with don't have the same business model that I have. So I don't have this like meta business where you get a lot of like coaches that are like coaching you to do the thing that they do and blah, blah, blah. So what I do with my clients, my business model is my business model. It's boutique, it's intimate. My clients are the ones that want to reach the masses, and they want lots of, more high volume, bigger group programs, larger communities, things like that. So I am very clear that like in this boutique service, I provide this high level support to them. And so I'm an expert in like the things that they need for their business, but what they need for their business may not translate to what I need for my business. And so my role with embodiment is to like always be keeping my skills and my knowledge and my understanding really sharp, so I can provide great experience and great service to them. And then also this like deeper side that I'm talking about of really like showing them that they can have more without exhausting themselves. And so that to me is really the embodiment that I represent in terms of like the modeling is more on like the person side of like who I'm being and how I'm showing up and how I'm running things and how I'm speaking to them to help them like achieve their, their goals.
I love that. And then what do you do in helping them with their businesses and their sales?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, it's very practical. Like we look at sales and marketing gaps. We look at what, where are their breakdowns inside of their business. And the sales and marketing level is always like the foundation, because it's like, okay, well, leads come in. What is the quality of that person? Are they ready to buy? Are they going through your sales process? What's happening? So essentially there's like kind of an audit assessment that happens initially, where I go through their entire business with them on the sales and marketing side. And then we make a plan for how we want to fix it. And, like this is an example of like making more sales while working less. We can actually filter out like people that aren't qualified or aren't a right fit for your program, and, not invite them onto your sales calls. Basically, like just say no. Like we're not able to meet with you at this time. I'm sorry. When you're ready, here, go watch this training, whatever. And so I free up my clients like mental bandwidth and get them out of exhaustion, because when you are on the phone with people all day long, multiple days a week, it's exhausting. People that aren't a right fit. So we can cut down work hours and have fewer calls with more qualified people and get your close rate way up. So that's just one way, like initially, that we fix that. I also help them to like fix their sales conversation. So are there things that you're saying on the calls that are sabotaging the sale? This is very common. We fix those parts. So I actually like listen to their sales calls and, get them like just tweaking some things. We role play and we just fix where they're repelling people, essentially.
You're like, let me tell it how it is, where you're repelling people. Like,
yeah. And in the upfront but on that call, when you have their dedicated focus for an hour or 45 minutes, however long that call is, we are, we're going in there and we're saying, okay, what's going on? And, getting to the root of it. And it can take some repetition and it can take some unlearning too, because in, working with heart-centered entrepreneur CEOs that are visionaries, those are my people. A lot of the tactics that are taught are very, we call bro marketing, but a lot of the ones that are really dominating sales training are men. And, and so women and heart-centered men are learning these very male-dominated, ego-driven kind of sales tactics that aren't a match, vibrationally and physically, for the business and for the client. So there's some cleaning up to do.
I love that you said that. So as I've been on this business journey for a while now, and especially really, really, really in it the last couple of years, I see that. And I've had to figure out what works for me as far as sales goes versus what other people say. And you had said this earlier, like a lot of people have businesses, and this is okay, it works for some people, that they just go, okay, here's what I did, now you do the same thing. But like we're all unique individuals with different soul gifts and different callings and paths, and it's like what works for one person doesn't work for the other. So I feel like what I hear, what I see, what I feel, and what I know is that that's what's so special about what you do and your boutique and your customization, is that you really look at the client and their business and you say, well, there's so many ways to sell out there, right? We're always selling all the time. And you find what works best for them. And I love
Mhm.
that. And the bro marketing, it cracks me up.
Yeah, it does. It
Transparent. Yeah.
does. And, and I love that you said that because it's so true. Because the customization piece, like a lot of clients, when they come to me, it's like, the cookie cutter systems like really help them to get to where they are, and they help them immensely, especially if they really invest and they really focus and they're working with someone in a program for years and they get that running. But then they get to a point, they're like, well, I want to keep evolving. But number one, these like massive group programs don't provide the intimate support that I need and the customized support. And then two, I can see ways that my business could evolve and I need some customized help and support to come in and support me with my business. And that's really where I step in. And what's really interesting, I was in a conversation with someone yesterday, and the thing about marketing and the bro and whatever, whoever it is, cracks me up. Here's the thing is, a lot of people, and this is like, I think this message could just give people a lot of sovereignty. Like, the people that can afford to put the most money into marketing are the ones that are driving the paid ads. And you really see, and my clients drive paid ads. It's fine. I have no problem with that. But the ones who are like really pounding the money into it, you're getting those messages pushed at you every day. And part of that is to convince you that like you have a problem that their system solves. And so they'll address these pain points and these problems, but like how they solve it may not be aligned for you. So it's like people get kind of pulled into that. And that's where you have to be careful of like, is yes, they're naming my problem and they're calling out my problem, but is the way that they're solving it like in alignment and integrity? And I say that because, like, as you mentioned, like my clients have sold, and I've helped sell over $12 million of high-end program sales. And so I've had a lot of these conversations, and I've had a lot of conversations with people who are like, I've invested so much and I've tried so much and blah, 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 and it's because like they're buying things with that hope that it's going to, that they're going to get that result. And we all want that. And that's why we all invest. But having that discernment around what we're putting our money into, and that we're not in the victim trap. You talk about that a lot, that like, that you're not like, I'm this victim that needs to be rescued, and now your coaching program is going to rescue me, or you hiring me. And so that's something that I talk with my clients about. I'm like, look, you can not hire this person and not hire that person. Like, these people are not the creators of your success, and they're not the determiners of your success. And we defy odds all the time. My clients do, and they rules that they think that they need to have in place, like they defy them, and they're like, oh yeah, I really don't need that. It's amazing. So I just really wanted to kind of like burst that bubble, because you, dear listener who's listening, you may have this list of things in your mind right now that you think that you need to get your business to the next level. And I'm going to tell you right now that you don't need any of them. And you could literally like scratch it all up and throw it away, and you would be fine.
Guilty. I'm here. Yeah. But the great thing is that I'm surrounded by people that remind me. And I also remind other people. People are like, and I got to get my website going. And I'm like, yeah, you don't really have to have a website. Now, is it great? And should you? Sure. Yes, 100%. But like, I see people that do it without a website. It's just like finding what works for people,
Totally. And some of us need things, right? So it's so funny you say website, because I was thinking last time, like, I don't have a logo. Like, when I launched a new brand last year, and I launched this new brand, and I got a logo designed and all of that. And then I was like a couple months in, and I realized, you know what, this is not in alignment for me at all. And so I kept the brand colors, and they've evolved since I got the brand colors, but I kept those, and then I trashed the logo. And so I have like a couple colors. I have something that I use on my site for a logo, but like, I don't have a logo. I have my website is my first website, and my most searched blogs are like how to find a great spiritual business coach, or how do you manifest in 3D? It's like, so I have all these things that are, from my journey from the beginning, and they're not perfect, but they work, and my website converts and people check me out, but it's just kind of keeping things relevant and up to date. But you don't need any of it. But here's what I will say. Again, there's this part of you that is, that if you're really tapped in and you're tuned in, because this is a spiritual community and you're listening to that part of you, it's going to show you what it is that you need. And I say need in quotes, but what will help you to create that structure and feel the most supported. So you want to check in, is it my mind and my logic and maybe something that I picked up from a Facebook ad or a marketing message that I think that I need? Or is this truly something that like my soul and my being wants to connect with, to express? Because once you get really clear on where that is coming from, you can let go of all of the other things that you think that you need to allow that expression to come through. And that's going to be the thing that you can scale and grow and multiply.
I love that. So what I hear is step one. In order to create more sales by doing less or without doing more, whatever you want to call it, this wasn't on our list, but it's actually taking evaluation and stock and checking in with yourself and that alignment with your soul and seeing, what am I doing because I feel like drawn and called to do it? Those are the words I would use. Or what am I doing because other people have told me that I do it? And is it in alignment? Like, so that's, I think, the great first thing that we have addressed as how people watching this can look at themselves in their own business and see. And it's funny because I've been told that so many times that I have been, let me reframe that. I have been in the past, and I'm getting better at this every day, caught up in the rules of marketing, which bro marketing, what you're calling that, it's just like what is mostly out there with how to do sales and how you see sales pages. I was never like, I didn't understand this world until I became a business owner in the world of sales. I saw it from the side of a consumer, but now I see it from the side of the business. And there was always things that I looked at, and I personally am just like, well, why do people have like this sales page and they're like, this is worth $4,997 and you can have it today for $49. And I'm just like, well, why don't you just sell it for the price that it is, right? But there's tactics there, and there's psychology, and there's that works for some people. Or like the thing about call, when you see the commercials on TV and it's like, if you call in the next 30 minutes, like we're going to have this special for you. And I'm like, but wait a minute. Like when I see this commercial again in 30 minutes, it's going to say the same thing. And I was just like, it's so funny. So I look at those things, and it's the rules, right? That we've been seeing, the things that have been put into our cups from marketing and sales that we've experienced, or other people's beliefs and methods. And I have to find what works for me. And so it's like things that work for me is having fun, sharing my life, doing videos, writing blogs, and just sharing my life is how I get the most sales. It's crazy, but it works for me,
Yes. Oh my gosh. And I think that we can, there's a little bit to unpack there, because on what you just said, because it's like, first of all, like the whole, if we're going to say like school of marketing, it started in like the early 1900s. Okay. And so I've actually been in like copywriting programs and hung out with, the like the tactics that you're talking about that comes from the direct response world, the infomercial world, people writing sales letters, newspapers, magazines, print, TV ads, right? And then the internet has just completely like revolutionized things, made things more accessible. And so all of those strategies are very male driven from the early 1900s. And so now we have this like new wave of like the coaching industry is mostly driven by women. There are men that are coaches, but coaches particular, I don't know what the exact number breakdown is, but it's like primarily women, right? And so now you have all these women that have corporate experience, and they're coming in and then they're teaching sales and marketing. And then you have women that they just like, have maybe no corporate experience, but they have just gifts and they just like know how to sell people and know how to have communication. So there's all of this like new education for how you can do things that's come up in the last couple of years. And it's so cool because when you really see like there are so many ways that can be done, there really is no rule and I can find my own way. And yes, there is tactic. Yes, there's strategy. Yes, there's psychology. And, but you can also break the rules. I mean, I had a landing page that broke all the rules. It was a meditation called Spirit of the Eagle. And I was selling a business program on the back end. And the sales page, the landing page had an 80% conversion rate. And I remember getting a woman that I didn't even know, 80% like opt-in rate for people to give their email. Woman that I didn't even know like opted in and then bought my $2,500 coaching program off of it. This was years ago, but it was like, so you can break the rules all the time. And something else that I wanted to mention, because you were talking about like the alignment piece and like really tuning in, I really want to bring out that like when you're working from this depth within you and this greater part of you that's not your ego and that's not your mind that's really driving your business, you're going to be more aware of the uncomfortable things that you need to do. And so it's not all about feeling good. And so like allowing, like, I'm going to make mistakes and I'm going to let it be messy. That's actually something I've been telling myself. I was just messaging one of my clients today, like, just like show up and like, it doesn't, because the more you're in perfectionism and the more figured out and perfect it has to be, the more it dampens your light. Right. And so it's just like letting it come out and express. And these are my multiple six-figure business owners that I'm telling this to. So perfectionism happens at, every stage.
Yes, guilty. And I'm so busy right now in my own business doing more that I want to be doing less. And I'm working to do less. That my motto has now become good enough. Is this good enough? Yes. Like if you look at my stuff, it's not the best, but I'm getting the message across and I know that I'm evolving and it'll change and I'll have more help and all the things. Okay. So what else would be on the list of things that you could share with people on how to create more sales by doing less?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we talked about, the sales conversations, because like when you increase your closing rate and you improve and you stop, having sabotaging the sale, essentially your close rate goes up, you're filtering out people that aren't a great fit, you get your time back, right? So you already are like creating so much more without having to work more. And it's like, it's liberating, but then you're like, oh my gosh, like now I have all this time on my hands and I have this mental bandwidth. Now what? And so the other thing that we can do is really look for like, what are the opportunities that are sitting inside of your business right now that you're not really taking advantage of? And that's where my expertise with launches and events comes in. Because now we can look at like, do we need to do a launch? Do we need to do an event? Like, how can we re-engage your people and get them excited and wanting to come in? And so we could do referral campaigns. So there's like so many creative things that we can do inside of the business that can create more sales with like assets that you've already built, that you've already paid for, that you already have. And that just creates so much freedom too, because it's like, well, I don't have to like just be chasing new leads all the time. And then another way too is like following through on that commitment to yourself, like being consistent, because a lot of people are like, I should be doing this, should be doing that. And the reality is that to have a personal brand or to have a brand online, that, showing up for your people does help them get to know you. And if, you want to connect with them and you want to let them know that you're here and that you're there for them. And so being consistent with that and building those relationships with your audience is like really, really powerful. And so that's another thing when you're like following through on that commitment to yourself, it feels really good and it saves a lot of like stress. So I'm always looking for ways that I can really like free up mental space for my clients and help them to get better results.
Yeah, I love that. And I always hear like all the back end stories and, because I talk to you every day. But
Yeah.
um, what I wanted to also kind of ask about is what about, so what I heard in that, let me start here. What I heard in that was it's almost like taking existing leads and or existing products or services that you
Mhm.
have and like relaunching them
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so not creating new things, because I do see a lot of people always wanting to create new things when you could just take things that you already have and upgrade it, right?
Mhm.
Because as you evolve as a person and as a leader and as a coach or whatever you are, your stuff can evolve also. And so
Yeah.
it's like you don't always have to reinvent the wheel. So the hidden opportunities can come in so many forms. You gave a
Mhm.
couple examples. So I just wanted to like reiterate what I heard it as. And also, what about like tapping into the network that you already have? Because we all
Mhm.
have networks of people, right? Like I always think
Yeah.
about that. I'm like, okay, if I really stop, like I know at least 100 people, and those 100 people probably know at least 20, if not
Mhm.
100 people, right? So, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, yeah. So, well, I had just mentioned like a referral campaign, right? Where you can go and ask people that have already bought from you to refer people who need your service. Like that's a great start. You can ask people that are following you who've never bought anything to invite people to come into into your world. So that's a great way. And then also like partnerships, referral partnerships, strategic partners. That's another way, connecting in with people who know your ideal client or maybe serve a different market. So it's really like being intentional about who you're connecting with. And what's cool is like we all have connections with people on our Facebook lists, on our Instagram, on our LinkedIn's. I don't do Twitter, so maybe Twitter too, but you have people that maybe you haven't really like taken a look and been like, you know what, there could be some synergy here. We at least are have like we're connected. Let's start a conversation. So definitely kind of tapping into what is already around you in creative ways is really, really powerful and something that I do. I love, I'm always connecting with new partners and, finding ways to, yeah, connect with them and bring value to them and look for people that could be their potential client for them to look out. And then also it's reciprocated because I give them money if they send me a client too, and they like that. So yeah, those are just a few ways and really what does that come down to? It comes to looking and doing an assessment of what's around you. Like that's always kind of like the baseline. And then crafting some messaging that you want to send to them and asking and then following up with them because they may need a couple follow-ups or a couple reminders.
Yeah, speaking of that, I'm like following up with people. I see myself included, so many misses there that people just don't have like a follow-up system or process, and they miss out on a lot of opportunities by just following up and checking in. And yeah,
Yeah.
so I'll add that in. Is there anything else that you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, I think the follow-up is amazing. That's like one of my superpowers. And so, you want to have a place where you're tracking your leads, that you can take notes, a very simple CRM or a complex CRM, whatever it is, you want to be utilizing that and have reminders set for follow-ups. And then you can also do leverage things like, I have a client that I've come up with an idea where I want to do some targeted campaigns to different segments of her list. So there's like different things that you can do. But the follow-up is so important. And I think that the thing that trips people up with follow-up is like they don't know what to say. And then you feel like you're going to be salesy and you're trying to get something from someone. And so when I'm going to follow up with someone, I'm always going to look at like, or if I'm coaching a client to follow up, like what is in it for them, the person, the prospect, like what's in it for them to get their problem solved? And, how much challenge and problems are they dealing with right now? And so really leaning in from like, I genuinely care and I want you to get the support you need. Because when you're like, I'm just trying to get money out of you, like that doesn't feel good, especially for heart-centered people. But when you're like, I have a solution that's going to help you and, help you improve your life, it just really like changes like that space that you're coming from and doing the reach out, and do it every time. Like, even if you follow up 5 times, just reconnect with that. I'm helping, I have something that it can help them. And I will say that you have to be really sold on your product and service. Like, you have to constantly be selling yourself on what you do, and so that you want to buy it. Like, that's always like, would I buy my service? Even if you're not my ideal client, like at this point, I'm like, heck yes, I would hire me because I'm amazing.
You are amazing. I could vouch for that personally. I'm on board with that. And then I know you do a lot of events, and we didn't talk a lot about that, but maybe just a couple minutes you can share about how events can help somebody's business.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. The world of virtual and in person, I mean, they're just infinite. So you can do 90-minute events. Like, you don't have the whole like 3-day event model. It's still there. But since the pandemic and more people on Zoom and all of that, and just the way that the marketplace has really evolved, and buyer education has evolved so much, people are much more savvy buyers. People they've been exposed to coaching and transformational work. And so usually you're going to get more educated people. So you can do all sorts of different types of conversion events, from 90-minute to 3-hour to 1-day, 2-day, 3-day, and create amazing experiences for people. So what I do is, for shorter events, I will consult my clients on, what their offer is and their positioning of their event. And I coach them on their pitch. Like, what are they going to say in their slides? What are they going to teach on? How are they going to make the offer? What's like the run of show, basically, is the terminology. And then for bigger clients, I do the same thing, coach them, work with them on their pitch, make sure, everything's really optimized for conversions and for sales, while creating a great, participant experience. But then also, we'll actually bring sales teams on. So if they have a big enough audience and they have a big enough, I have a partner I work with where we actually build out the whole sales department, and we will bring sales reps on site or virtual to come and actually do the enrollment and closing conversations with your people. And that's super fun.
It is fun. It is fun. I get to hear about it all the time. I love going to events.
They're fun. I know. We were just my partner and I were in Miami last month. If you check out my Instagram, I have a reel where I kind of did a behind the scenes. It's at 𝐂𝐤𝐿, and I have like a behind the scenes reel where we were in Miami, and it was so fun. It was like this beautiful luxury hotel, and the design and the food and the atmosphere and the beach. It was phenomenal. So for either 2023 or 2024, I'm calling in an in-person event to Vegas, because I really want to go to Vegas and I want to have it paid for.
I love it. You got to put it out there. So if you're watching this and you know anyone that needs a sales consultant for their in-person event in Vegas, to come to,
let's go.
Let's go. I do know of an event. I don't know the person personally, but we'll talk about it afterwards. So,
cool.
Okay. So you have something you would like to share with the audience called 3 things you can do now in your business.
Yeah. 3 things that can immediately increase your sales without spending more money on ads. And they can help you also increase your close rate as well. So I go deeper into some of the things that we talked about. And so, it's moremethod.com/3-things.
And I'll link it. It'll be linked in the caption as well when they watch this. So they can go and get that from you. That's just a nice little free gift for anybody. And if someone was interested in inquiring about your services, what would be the best way for them to contact you?
Well, so they can go to that, because if this video, if they like it and they want to connect further, they can book a call with me through that. They can also go to my website, CeliaFayeMeisel.com, and they can book a 20-minute exploration call with me straight from my website as well. And that includes a sales and marketing quick assessment. So you kind of put some information in about your business, and I'll actually do an assessment of your business before we talk and kind of have an idea of what's going on and some suggestions I can make to improve and optimize sales, because there's just so much opportunity.
So the one thing that I didn't ask about, but just came through is like, okay, so people want more sales, but also do you help people and have like consultation, advice, whatever tips on how they can also, because they're going to do less for themselves, but what about like duplicatable, scalable team, like things like that, that are going to expand their business and allow them to even maybe step out one day?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm always working with them on their hiring processes. I mean, one of my clients, we've been working on filling an executive admin spot. And, so I'll consult with them on their hiring because to me, like all aspects of the business, especially entrepreneur CEO performance impact sales. And then when their business is ready, I work with them to like bring on a sales team and actually like get their first sales closer or their first sales rep. And so I'll help them with like getting even somebody to just do like outbound phone calls and follow-ups and all of that. So I help them free up their time and with team, and then also helping them to get things more systemized. So like if we're doing events in their business, every time we do it, I'm like, okay, how can we improve the process? And so like if they have an OBM or they have an operations person, I'm, advising that person like, hey, let's tweak this, let's do that. So I really have eyes on everything. And it's very, very high touch. So yeah, that's a great question. I'm like an advocate and a growth partner to help them achieve their goals.
Yeah, I was specifically thinking of someone I talked to recently, and they're doing amazing, but they're like, I am doing everything and I can only do so much as the person in my business. And then I was just like, oh, I wonder if Celia can help them. So,
Yeah, definitely freeing them up. And yeah, there's lots of ways that they can hire and begin to, outsource, delegate things with their team. For
yeah,
sure.
and have strategy to create new or existing things that could, yeah, help them to step further out. Okay, that's cool. But before we wrap it up, just tell me one more time, because I know you said it earlier, but who are the people that you typically work with?
Yeah, so I typically work with people that have hit multiple six figures in their business and they want to scale to seven figures. I will also work with people that have gone over the six figures mark, so they've at least made like 100K or more in a 12-month period in their business, and they want to get to the next level. It's just a different type of support for those people. But the key is that they have a proven offer that like they've taken people through the offer, they've gotten results, testimonials, they've built an audience. So they have an email list, probably some sort of community online somewhere, whether it's a Facebook group or, people are following their personal page or their Instagram page. So a way to get, connect with people. And so those are sort of the key things in places like their business is up and running. And, they're just like, I need help, right? There's some kind of bottleneck. There's some kind of gap. And revenue roller coaster, kind of up and down revenue is a big indicator that something's going on in their business. And that's something that I can help them with. Or, they have a bunch of leads coming in, but their close rate's just not great. Like people aren't buying and they're super stressed out. So those are some of the things that I will come in and help them to solve. And then they're not worried about that anymore. And they're on to the next thing, which is, more growth and, more joy in their business and life.
And less stuff to do.
That's right. Right. And yeah. And it's like that extra time,
Mm-hmm.
extra space and capacity. I know people that have financial freedom and they go take on jobs because like, they're like, well, I'm making all this money and I have all this time and I'm just going to go like, not jobs, but like they may go, like I just met a woman who was taking on an insurance sales position and because she makes like 60 grand a month in passive income. And she's like, I just want to do this because I want to connect with people and have fun. So there is always a next level and you don't always know like how you're going to express when you get there.
I love that. Woohoo. I can't wait. I'm on my way.
Yes, ma'am.
Amazing. Is there anything else you want to add before we wrap up?
No, thanks for a great conversation today. It was super fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm looking forward to connecting with some of you further if you come and watch the training, the 3 things that you can fix immediately to increase sales. And definitely come and connect with me on social, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, all the places. And let me know where you came from if you come and say hi.
Yeah, I love that. Thanks everyone for tuning in today. And thank you, Celia, for all of your time and your energy and your presence here. And most of all, your knowledge. I feel like I have some things to reevaluate in what I'm doing, which I've already been in that process, So,
Yeah. Awesome.
all right, everyone, have an amazing